When you learn basic English, one word has one meaning. For example, the word subject means an area of knowledge. But with advanced English, this is wrong. Why? Because in advanced English, one word can have many meanings. So with subject, although subject can mean an area of knowledge, it can also mean an issue of interest as well. And in this video, you're going to learn 20 really useful words that have multiple meanings. And this will expand your knowledge of advanced English vocabulary. Make sure you stay to the end because there are tasks at the end that will help you to test how well you've remembered these words and meanings. Let's start with economical. So economical usually means good at saving money. But an advanced meaning of economical is using no more than necessary. Let's look at examples of these two uses. The couple lived a very economical life, so they were able to save a lot of money. So this is economical in terms of money. The second example, though, the criminal was economical with the truth. He didn't tell the police everything he knew. So here, economical meant not as much as necessary, as little as possible, a small amount, being clever with what this person had. So it takes that meaning of money and takes it another step further. Don't forget, you can make this video speed up or slow down. Use the settings in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. The second word is gravity. Now, gravity, we know, means the downward pull on objects. So if I hold something, I know it's going to fall to the ground if I drop it because of gravity. But we also use gravity in another way. The seriousness of a situation. Let's look at examples of both of these now. Gravity causes apples to fall from a tree to the ground. That's the first use. That's the usual use. A more advanced use, though, environmentalists try to explain the gravity of the situation regarding rising sea levels. So in the second situation, it's used to describe the seriousness. It's using the idea of gravity being something really strong, a pull that makes something bigger. So gravity is used to make something more serious. Word 3 is infectious. The usual meaning of infectious is a disease which can be passed on. So if you get ill, it might be infectious. If it's infectious, you can pass it on to another person. But we can also use infectious to mean something that makes you react and anything that spreads, whether it's a disease or an idea or something else. So in our first example, her condition was infectious, so she stayed away from other people. The second one, he had an infectious smile. It made everyone feel happy. So infectious smile created a good mood. It had an effect on other people. And the last one, the new video game is infectious. It makes people want to play again and again. Do you have a video game that's infectious? It just makes you want to carry on doing it. And if your friends watch you, they want to play too. That's infectious. And if you're finding this video useful, make sure you like it or click subscribe if you haven't done before. This will help you to see my future videos. The fourth word is injection. Injection commonly means putting a needle into the skin. So, for example, if you need a vaccination or if you're giving blood, a needle will go into the skin, liquids will go in or out. That's how we usually understand injection. But it can also mean give something new energy. And here's examples. To receive the vaccination, you have to receive an injection. The more advanced meaning, the new employees provided an injection of ideas into the business. They brought new ideas, new things that weren't there before. So injection. Word 5 is magnitude. Magnitude usually is to do with the size of an earthquake, but it could also be the size of a problem too. Look at these examples. The earthquake had a magnitude of 7.5. So we have this number scale that we use to describe how serious an earthquake is, and magnitude is a word used to describe that. But we could also say the magnitude of the situation dawned on them. They could not pay back their debts. Let's think about this. Someone has debts and they get bigger and bigger and they can't pay them back. And there is a magnitude to the situation. It becomes really, really big. Let's check what we've learnt so far. In task 1 of 3, choose A or B to fill the gap. I like to be with my time. I spend as little time as possible on each task. Do we fill the gap with economical or magnitude? The answer is economical. I like to be economical with my time. Part 2. I find the new song. I can't stop listening to it. Do we fill the gap with economical or infectious? The answer is infectious. I find the new song infectious. Part 3. This show is dull. It needs of new energy. Do we fill the gap with gravity or injection? The answer is injection. It needs an injection of new energy. Now let's learn words 6 to 10. Word 6 is marker. Marker is that thing that a teacher holds that they write on the board with. I've used it a lot in my career. A pen that makes thick writing. But we can also use marker to mean an indicator of where something is. The examples will help here. So the example in the usual case, the teacher, like me, used a marker pen to write on the board. But here's the second use of marker. The very long jump was a marker to all the other jumpers of how well they would need to perform to beat the champion. Let's imagine the situation. Have you ever watched the Olympic Games? One of the famous events is the long jump. People jump as far as they can into a pit of sand. And maybe someone jumps further than everyone else. A flag is put next to that point, and that is a marker. That indicates to the others, this is the longest jump. This is the jump you'll have to beat to get the gold medal. So, marker. Word 7 is occupation. Now we know that occupation is to do with a job. What is your occupation? What job do you do? But occupation could also be about this, being in an area and controlling it. So example of the first use, my occupation is a teacher. That would be true for me. That's my job. But the second meaning, the occupation of the government building by protesters was illegal. So have you ever seen on TV, on the news, people go into a building, they shouldn't be there, and they control the building. But it's not their building. It is an occupation. Word 8 is marginal. Marginal usually means small. But a related, more advanced use of marginal is on the edge of things. And the examples will show the difference. So the amount of profit we made on our new product was marginal. So they wanted big products. They ended up with products with profits that were so small that they barely existed. They were just marginal profits, a really, really small number. The second use is slightly different. Marginal groups need more protection in our society. So in your country, is there a group of people who are only small in number compared to the rest of the population? They could be called a marginal group. They are small in number compared to everyone else. They're kind of on the edge of things. They are not so included in society as other groups. They are marginal. Word 9 is accelerate. So if you have a car, you have a pedal which accelerates the car and makes it go faster. But accelerate can also mean just something happening faster, and we use it with a range of different ideas, not just for a car or a vehicle. Compare the two examples. The car accelerated quickly when the lights turned green. Do you do that in your car? Or I need to accelerate the speed of my writing if I am to complete this test. So here it's the idea of going faster, not actually moving faster in a vehicle. Word 10 is conceive. The main meaning of conceive is to start new life. But an advanced use of conceive is just thinking of a new idea. And we use this all the time, particularly in academic writing. Here are the examples. The young cubs were conceived by the two lions in the jungle. This is new life. Or the more advanced use, a plan was conceived to develop a new stadium in the city. So here the plan is a new plan that people have created. It didn't exist before. Before we look at words 11 to 20, let's check the pronunciation of words 1 to 10. I'll say them once, you repeat it on your own. Economical. Gravity. Infectious. Injection. Magnitude. Marker. Occupation. Marginal. Accelerate. Conceive. Now let's continue with words 11 to 20. Word 11 is peripheral. Peripheral can mean this, on the side of something. But it could also mean not important. So example of the first use, the large country had islands that were peripheral to the mainland, so they were on the edge. The second one, it was a good idea, but it was decided to be peripheral to the main aims, not as important as the main aims. 13 is precipitate. Now the word precipitate is often used as precipitation, meaning rain or anything coming from the sky in liquid form. And the verb for this is precipitate. So water falling from the sky, if you want to say it as a verb, you would say precipitate. But it can also mean these two meanings too. It can mean leading to something else as a verb, and it can also mean a solid separated from a liquid as a noun. And this is in science. If you study science at school or college, you will know sometimes you put two things together, there's a reaction, and the solid separates from the water. And this is The solid that's left over is the precipitate. Here are examples of all three. The clouds were expected to precipitate rain over the hill. That's water falling from the sky. The difference in opinion precipitated a crisis between the two countries. So here it started something. And the final one, the two particles reacted and formed a precipitate. That's the science chemistry meaning. Word 13 is projection. Now, projection usually means something moved through the air. So you can project something by throwing it or launching it. Something moves through the air. That's a projection. But projection can also mean a prediction. Look at the examples here. So the first one, the fountain was so powerful, its projection of water was very high. The second meaning means prediction. Initial projections show that students will have to pay more for their studies in the future. Let's hope that's not true. Word 14 is proposition. So proposition usually means an invitation to something, but it has other meanings too. It can mean a statement of fact, and it can also mean an opportunity. Look at the examples to get clearer on what this means. So firstly, I have a proposition for you. Would you like to come with me to the cinema? This is the invitation. The more advanced uses, though, the proposition that bird numbers are in decline has been proven in several research papers. So this is simply an idea or a fact that we're talking about. And the opportunity to take over the pizza business was an interesting proposition. Here it's an opportunity. So proposition, lots of different meanings here. Word 15 is exponential. So if you've studied maths, you'll know that exponential means a number times another number. I'll give you an example in a moment if you can't remember your maths lessons. But exponential also could simply mean ever accelerating rate of growth in anything at all. Let's look at those examples then. So the exponential form of 2 times 2 times 2 is 2 to the power of 3. So you have that number 2 and then a little 3 next to it. And that's what it means in maths. But exponential is used in many ways these days, particularly next to the word growth. You might be familiar with this from the coronavirus. The virus was showing signs of exponential growth, and health ministers were worrying it would get out of control. So remember the COVID virus? A few people had it, then more people, then a lot more, and then suddenly lots and lots more. It was exponential growth. 16 is render. If you know anything about building words in English, you will know that render is a material that you put on a wall and it makes it smooth. So it makes a wall smooth with a kind of a paste that sticks to the wall. But render has another use too. It means to cause something to be a certain way. And look at the examples for how we use them. After we rendered the walls, our house looked much nicer. That's the usual use. The more advanced use, they didn't do what we agreed. So the contract was rendered void. So it made something a certain way. Word 17 is transmit. So transmit is commonly used with TV, radio, mobile phone or cell phone if you're American, signals, where you send a signal from one place to another and you get information that way. But you can also use it in this way. To pass from one to another in other kinds of situations. And here's an example of both. They stopped transmitting the radio signals, so we cannot listen to the program anymore. That's the signals passing information in radio, TV sense. The second sense, The book transmits a sense of optimism to the reader. So here, transmit is an idea passing from the page to the reader's mind. It wasn't a such a clear thing that you could see it, but it's like a sense passed from the book to the reader, made them optimistic, made them more cheerful. Word 18 is uplift. So uplift means an increase, but it can also mean an improvement in mood, like as follows. There was an uplift in profits last month. That means last month the profits were higher than the month before. They went up. But also the good news gave everyone an uplift. So uplift improved the mood. Word 19 is productive. Productive usually means making things at a good rate. It comes from the word produce, which is all about making. But we can stretch this meaning a bit further as well. We can also use it simply to mean useful as well as making things. Read the examples of both. This is our employee of the month. She was very productive. So this lady has made lots of things. She's done a lot of work. The second use is slightly different though. The meeting between the directors was very productive. Everyone left with a clearer idea of what to do next. So we've still got the sense that they did something in the meeting, but the emphasis here is on the fact the meeting was useful. Not that lots of things got done, but that it was useful to everyone who was there. And finally, word 20, let's go back to the word we started with, subject. Keep watching because there's some extra meanings of subject coming up. Do you remember we saw that the usual meaning of subject is an area of knowledge? But here are two more meanings besides the ones we learned earlier. Subject can also mean depending upon, and it can also mean made to experience something. Like this. So the subjects I enjoy most are English and science. That's the areas of knowledge. But also, I will receive my certificate tomorrow subject to the speed of the delivery service. So receiving it depends upon the speed of the delivery service. It's subject to. And also, I won't subject you to a talk on all the details. I'm sure you know them already. So subject is force you or make you experience something. Here, I won't do it. I won't subject you to it. I won't force you to listen. Let's see how much we've remembered in a quick practice task. So in this practice task, can you match the meanings on the left to the words on the right? Pause the video if you need more time now, but here come the answers. So first of all, using as little as possible. Remember, that was economical. Not important, that was peripheral. Be in and control a place, occupation. Put new life into something, injection. Depend upon goes with subject. And improve mood goes with uplift. I hope you've enjoyed learning those 20 really useful words with many meanings. Get putting them into your English use so that you practice them and you remember them. And be sure to go through my channel if you've not seen it before and find some other videos. I have lots of videos on advanced English words, advanced English vocabulary. Click on the links that are showing on the page now to go and learn more advanced English now.